Took forever. What's happening, good people? What's happening? Oh man, it's been a minute. A lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. But what's good with y'all? Grab my notes here, pull them to the side. There we go. We hopefully will do a little field tripping to look at some things. Um, it's good to be live, man. It's been a while. I miss going live. Jeez. 2%. What's happening, Nathan, MJ, Sharfarme? I forgot to send you your joint, your reminder. I feel like the comment was the reminder. But anyway. So I wanted to give a quick um first of all, I think I'm gonna give away the bull bat. I'm pretty much over the bull bat. Now, I still like the bull bat. I still use it. But I've gotten a couple of new power stations that have more watt hour capacity, about 1,000 watt hours to be exact. And I kind of want to roll out older power stations because if I keep these joints, I'm going to use them. Now, I don't know if I'm jumping the gun here. I don't think so. I haven't been very analytical. I just know I haven't been using the bull bat lately, but I haven't been getting a whole lot of sun lately. Typically, what happens with me is if I get sun for 2 days in a row, I'm swimming in power, running out of places to use it. It's a whole thing. um, so what I'll do is it'll be the same thing. I don't know if I'm going to give it away instantly, but it is going to be the next power station. You guys who are here, that's kind of what it's all about. After the live stream, if you're interested in the bull bat, use the word bull bat, one word, BULLBAT, and then I'll pick a comment from there, and then we'll get it together to get it shipped out. Um, I may be a little more analytical. It took me a while to ship out Radiant Jasmine's power station. I apologize to her for that. I was in the groove, and then like life kind of kicked in, my procrastination kicked in, and it took me a long time to get it out to her. But I did get it out to her. She won the Rock Pals and the 300. Um, I do want to give an update about the EcoFlow River Max 2. I did have to return that. Actually, the whole ordeal with EcoFlow. I put out the short about a couple of days ago showing the whining sound. I didn't do a real video. I put it in short form. So if you haven't seen it, you should go check it out. And then I also talked about in a previous short about having to send it back. And what happened there is they're going to repair it and then hopefully send it back to me. The EcoFlow rep was a bit on the fence about, not on the fence. I don't think they understood the problem, even though I sent them a video. They were kind of like, yeah, that was the fan. And I'm like, that is not the fan. And then I put out the short. The short should kind of explain things. There's a gross difference between the fan and that whining sound. The whining sound only happens on DC. Now, as it relates to the panel is delaminating. And a little tip to you guys, which I'm sure you would do anyway. But for some of us who have multiple power stations, you may not be pressed. I know me, I'm a procrastinator, even with my own stuff, let alone shipping power stations out to you guys. What happened was the panel started delaminating on me. I got it in about November, maybe. And it took me all the way up until now to reach out to EcoFlow. It's like I knew I had at least a year, so I wasn't pressed. Plus, I'd be having other stuff going on. So now I reached out to them. They were going to send me a refurbished one. And I was like, man, that's unfortunate because, this thing was brand new to me. And all I did was use it and then it started delaminating. Now, I asked about why the refurbished one. And what they told me is that typically in about 2 months from a situation like this, they'll typically send out a new one. But because it was like 5 months, they were like, we'll send you a refurbished one. And I was like, you know what? I don't agree with that, but that's my fault for dragging my feet. Lesson learned. You know what I mean? I'm just going to have to take it on the chin. And they were like, you know what? I talked to my supervisor and we'll send you out a new one. Cause I was like, it started happening almost immediately from using it. This is not something that took 5 months to create. So they is in transit. They're talking about verifying and all that jazz. And They're talking about verify. I'm sorry. Hold on. Give me 1 second, guys. Let me. Back to the lecture at hand. So they are verifying that it's, I guess, coming to them. I think the email said, like, it's in transit. As we verify, we'll get ready to send you out another one or something like that. So I could have that being on the way soon. Now, hopefully y'all got the moral of the story. Reach out to them when you have a problem and don't drag your feet. That's the lesson that I learned. When I have an issue, I like to say I'm going to do that from now on, but I've been an Ivan for a long time. Let me see what y'all snapping and trapping about. What's up, sir? Good to see you. Let me see. Just popping in, show some support. I appreciate it. All right, just some. What's up, Johnny? Good to see you too, man. We could talk about your situation as well. I did have that on my list of things to chat about. Actually, since we're talking about EcoFlow support, let's talk about that. Okay. Apparently, the missus is rolling in.
Hey, what's up, good people?
It's funny because I was.
Come on, let me get in.
Give me a second.
Squeeze in.
Because I was talking to my wife briefly about, because she heard me sending a message to Johnny, and he's had a situation with Bloody Support. Just to give you the short version.
Marco short for MJ 2%. Hey y'all. Sorry.
Do you have enough space to shine bright
See my girls.
like a diamond?
Why you say that?
Beyonce saying, right?
No, it's Rihanna.
There you go, Rihanna, Riri.
Oh, just happy to be here.
All right.
All right, my bad. Go ahead.
So anyway, Johnny's situation with Blue Eddy. He had an AC200P, started having issues with it. There's supposed to be a 2-year warranty on that device. I did not know that. I don't pay attention to warranties and such. But it stopped charging up to capacity. So he basically engaged in a conversation with Blue Eddy support. And, Blue Eddy support is not our favorite. Been trying to improve, but yeah, it's been a thing. So, and I'm paraphrasing here just to give you guys the short version of it. He is a Canadian, I believe. He lives in Canada. He purchased it from Amazon Canada or something like that. And they basically, at this time, they were saying, you know what, we don't have any more of those devices. And they weren't going to help him at all. And he kind of persisted. I think he said he had a 38 response email chain with them. Ultimately, he had to work very hard to get them to do anything. The situation is still not resolved. I was in the Blue Eddy group, and I saw somebody comment on how they were impressed with Blue Eddy support. And I was like, well, I have a viewer who's had an issue, and his issue still not resolved. So I had him jump back on Facebook and comment and see if we could get the whole situation squared away. Um, Hopefully I'm not divulging too much, but it's like it just wasn't a cool situation. They had offered him some money at some point. It was not enough coin for the device that he had lost. He ended up having to ship it and to a place, and they were like, "Yeah, we don't have any more in Canada, so sorry, we can't help you." And it's just like, whoa, two years of warranty, and you can't help me? Like, what is that about? Yep. I feel like you should have put on something everybody would watch. Look what you got on. You played yourself. Congratulations. Let me see what these comments are talking about. I feel like this should be bigger. I can't freaking see. What's up, sleeper?
Out.
Control, res, change. What? What does that say? Oh, that must be a channel. He changed the fan in his EcoFlow River too. You should look. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. I ain't no DIY. It's been 6 months. Okay, somebody just waving. Okay, cool. So I don't mean to. Uh, I didn't ask him if I could put his business out in the street. I should have asked. My bad. But it's a disappointing situation that they basically kind of gave up on helping them, and I um I hope it works out now that like I don't have much weight. I'm still like a super small YouTuber. What you doing?
Alright.
But I hope it lends some credence, some credibility to his ask, and they get him squared away. So we'll just leave it at that.
That sucks.
Okay, he's saying it's okay. I dig it. Yeah,
What's your name?
Johnny Canuck on
Hey,
here.
Johnny.
Canuck? I don't know how to say it. I never said it out loud. Out loud. So
That's foul. That's foul. I'd be done with them. I'd be done. And I'm putting them on blast, telling everybody. I'm telling everybody.
it's unfortunate, man. That device was
Yeah.
not cheap when it first came out. It was like 2 grand, 17.99, 16.99, 15.99. So
I
be
feel like
down
that
a whole device.
that speaks like highly of just like why should I, or you as a creator, but anybody like promote or speak well of your product, especially knowing how you could get down. Not saying that they do it to everybody, but if that's how y'all could get down from a customer service perspective,
Yeah.
and I'm spending hundreds of dollars on your product,
Mm-hmm.
man, nah, I'm cool off, y'all. What's the company that don't want to give action? Is this the same company?
There's a lot of companies that don't want to give me any action.
Really?
Yeah.
Because you're small.
Yeah. But I don't know. But this is Blue Eddie. And
Yeah,
Blue Eddie doesn't, y'all know Blue Eddie doesn't have a good track record with support. They really are trying to, hey, it's not
You know
time for
what?
that.
Go upstairs. Go upstairs.
Y'all go run and play. No,
Go
just go
upstairs.
hang out upstairs. Blue Eddie does not have a good track record for support. They've been trying to improve things. So, but this is not going well for him, and it's just like I'm. That's just not cool. It's not cool. Beats, what's happening? Let's see. Should be replaced with an AC200 Max. You would think, right? You know what I mean? It's like if you don't have any AC200Ps, then upgrade a brother, upgrade a player.
Yeah.
Let me see. He should. Why is this so small? I don't understand.
What's small?
This.
I mean, it does feel small, but
Yeah, it just feels tiny. I feel like give me a little room to breathe
what the
here.
hell?
Okay, it says he should contact the US version or EU via email as you would get a different response. I feel like I'm sure he's tried a bunch. He's talked to people in a Facebook group before. He told me that he made a post in a Facebook group before and they deleted it. I don't know why they deleted it, but I talked to him. He said he wasn't like saucy or anything like spicy with him. He was just like expressing his disappointment. Um, so maybe they deleted it. I don't know. I don't know. But Blue Eddie support as a person that an instance in the group, and they responded. It was like, yeah, that's so sorry to hear that. Who is he? Can he come back? And blah 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 blah. So we could try and help him out. So we'll see. He responded to that post. I took screenshots of the post. I printed the post out. So if they delete it, I got the receipts, as the weirdos say. Uh, I crack myself up. I do. So hopefully the post sticks around. It was not his post. It was a different person's post. But I feel like I've hammered that one. What's going on with you?
You mean it's related to that? Because I could talk about all kind of stuff.
Well, we don't want you to talk about all kinds of stuff. Not all kinds of stuff. Well, since she's here, Dell and I had like some conversations about the panels being on the balcony. And so she essentially kicked me off of the porch. It was contentious too, just to keep it a buck.
It was like we had a conversation. I was like, what was the conversation?
Oh, Yeah, I guess so.
I was almost in tears, y'all. Going up like I'm gonna get in the shower and just relax because I was upset, like upset.
This is what we call a DMZ conversation because it helps to have it in the presence of other people. I call it the DMC because it's the demilitarized zone. It's like this is a peaceful place.
Mhm.
Uh,
The presence of other people helps keep it light,
yeah.
as opposed to being at each other's neck. But my feelings was hurt. I just felt like you not prioritizing your family. Like it's important to me too, because this is a season that we're coming upon. It's important to me.
Can you guys hear Dell?
I deal
Okay.
with because of the microphone.
Yeah, just you're
Y'all let me
talking
translate.
really low.
Like I deal
That's
with.
ridiculous. Get out of here. You talking to people's ear. People like, ah.
I'll project a little bit. Like I deal with
Don't nobody want all your
seasonal
personal.
blues. What?
You about to, I'm about to just say you. I deal with depression. I deal with
No, I don't deal with
abandonment
depression.
issues. I deal with PTSD. Like, what is you putting out all this foolishness for?
I could have went into those
I,
ways.
I don't. I wasn't sure. Like,
I
geez.
don't deal with none of that though.
No, but I wasn't sure what you were gonna say.
Oh yeah, seasonal blues. And some people do call it seasonal depression, and I think it's a real thing and whatnot. But just seasonal blues is enough. Where I look forward to the spring and summer. Like I literally look forward to that season all year round. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I don't want it to leave. We're in a cold weather state, so I just want freedom. I don't want to have to be dealing with like the kids having to be careful and having to be tight, and like I'm still concerned with them flipping over them doggone panels and they falling. Like I just don't want to deal with that. We have a 2-year-old, a 3, almost 4-year-old. It's like, and then we have rambunctious kids, and I just want freedom to play. When I'm sitting on the porch, I want to be able to look out and just be like happy with what I see as opposed to like looking to the side and seeing them panels, and I don't want that. And I just felt like for a couple of months, let me have a couple of months where I can have this space and the balcony free.
Prime solar season.
Please.
She wants.
But he got the whole driveway. We knocked down them trees, cut down them trees specifically for solar. He got the other side of the driveway. He got the yard too, because we don't really play back here. Well, the kids don't really come back here in the yard because of the them bees, and so hopefully we could still keep those at bay. But then he'd be having solar panels in the front yard. It's like I'm okay with solar. I know, like that's what I'm married to. I get it, but relax with not again prioritizing our enjoyment of the season.
This whole prioritizing thing is okay. Fair enough. I don't know what to say, but I just feel like there were underlying principle things that she was applying to that conversation that were bigger than the conversation that we were having. Much is this the thing with
What
the
was the bigger what?
prioritizing my family. Like it's
Yeah.
important to us. You're not considering us, and it's like I am
Yeah.
considering y'all.
No,
Like
you're not.
I'm
When it comes to
considering
not
the
when it comes to the
facts
solar.
of the situation, not the feelings of the situation.
What are the facts?
The kids barely play back there.
It hasn't been warm, and they're finally like at an age where,
Father's
and we
intuition.
finally have a rail. We finally have safe railings. A couple years ago, got those redone. We got
Father's
gates.
intuition. I feel like I know
The kids
that
ain't gonna
these
be back there.
kids ain't gonna want to be. All they want to do is to be able to move through the porch, run up the stairs, down the stairs to get away. They don't play on the back porch. They don't hang out on the back porch. So I felt like it wasn't a concern. We didn't have any data to support this idea that there's a potential that our kids could want to just hang out on the porch. Anyway, but in all of that, I was actually trying to consider.
That's a good point, Johnny.
What do you say?
He said, "How about you set time blocks that the panels can come out?" And that's the whole time the sun is out. You know what I'm saying?
She doesn't like. I will take like optional deployment type stuff, but that wouldn't work for her. But I'm glad we're here in the DMZ because then she's a little more reasonable. She's a little more amenable to the ideas and concepts.
I mean, yeah, it depends. Like, cause morning time, I'm mainly gonna be on the balcony.
They're only outside for like a few hours at a time.
That's not.
And then, like when it really gets in the summer, they'll be hanging out in the front yard, just getting it in. Listen, this is my thing. This is my thing. It's a valid point that I have a whole lot of space that I occupy in the backyard. That's fair. I feel like sometimes I'm treated like my stuff don't belong. Like my stuff is in the way.
How?
You know what I mean? You don't even want the panel in the front yard. You
Again,
come
because
to
that's this again. Like, I'm well. First of all, I mean, you resolved the situation, but I was still dealing with the remnants of. I wasn't sure about that screen. Wires all over the place. Like you had the bendable. What are those ones called?
the flexible
The flexible
panels.
ones. And
Yeah.
so we got Adele jumping on them, and I'm like nervous because she gonna be breaking crystals or something inside of it. I don't know. Like, I mean, and she's like drawn to the panels. She's like wanting to do stuff on the panels, and like that's stressful for me. And having to keep shooing her off. I can't relax in my chair because I gotta keep good. Because if she's not moving, I gotta go and move her. You know what I mean? It's like
There
there's
we
just
go.
so much going on, man. Like I can't just
I get it.
sit back and relax because I'm trying to protect your stuff. And
Yeah.
then I'd be thinking about them tripping on on one of the wires or something like that because
It was a lot.
it was.
I
It
dig it.
was. It
I dig it.
was.
I get it. I feel like I moved the. So what I do is I temporarily deploy stuff. So those flexible panels would not necessarily be out there all the time, but I love to take advantage of when the sun is out. So it's like if y'all not out there the mornings, it's like man, I should be able to get it in. But it's like all you have to do is see the stuff out there, and it's just like
It just bothers
I'm
me. Yeah.
just like, dude, just grab it up and put it to the side.
Me?
Me, you, the kids, anybody.
Hmm. But you're right. There is a sense of like if I see it, it just brings me down. And I
That's
think
to
because
your point, Johnny, in terms of this like times and windows. Like, nah, it ain't gonna fly. So now I don't have a panel up on the back balcony, which is fine. I'm an opportunist. So it's like, man, that's perfect sun up there all day for the most part. You get some very early in the morning because it's higher up on our second story. But I pulled it in.
you know what is it, ambiance or not ambiance, but there's a certain look that I want.
Aesthetic.
Yeah, aesthetic. Thank you. There's a certain aesthetic that I just have in mind, and I want to be able to enjoy, especially during the spring and summer seasons. And I don't really get that.
We're gonna button this up right now. The whole issue that I had, which I feel like a lot of dudes have, maybe you're not one of them, is I was just saying like, babe, just it's just an ask, especially in our dynamic. Just be like, babe, can you get the panels? Can you figure out a way to get the panels off the banister this summer? Y'all can only have your phones for now. Actually, no, it's not time yet.
No.
Daddy has to maximize his time, so y'all won't be able to get screen time early. All right. So, um, what I was saying was just the idea that I felt like I could have just been asked, and it
No,
been
it
like
couldn't
a
have just been
genuine
no. It couldn't have
ask.
been just an ask.
Like, babe,
Because
despite all that
you would have
other
sent me
stuff,
through the whole ringer again.
and that's
Because I
fine.
felt like you felt entitled.
But then it comes back to like, I hear you, but can you figure out a way to get the panels off the balcony? Because I feel like once you start qualifying and injecting what my core belief system is and questioning my role as a father and a provider and all this jazz, so it's just like I want to talk about that stuff. So it's just like just ask and then okay, I'm asking that you could figure out a way to get the panels off the balcony.
Just keep asking. Like, can you please? I just really don't want them up there. Can you please? I don't want them up there. Can you please?
Yep.
Get all the extra stuff.
All the extra stuff could go in the garbage. Slap
But the
your
extra
protein
stuff, like,
shake out of your hand.
matters.
Fair enough. Let's see what these comments are talking about. Okay.
You
Uh,
don't know where to start? You just start anywhere. Don't you gotta go all the way to the top to the
no,
beginning?
man. No, I don't. Jason was saying he understands the safety concerns.
Yeah.
That's fair. How about that? You read that already? Say blah 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 blah. Kids don't seem to go outside anymore. Our kids do.
Yeah,
A lot of
but because
kids
we,
do though, honestly. I guess
I don't think so.
I feel like I see kids around the neighborhood all the time. These kids be out. I feel like certain type of people probably don't have kids that go out, but these
Um,
kids be out around here.
yeah, ours is gonna be out too.
I was gonna open the fridge and say, "What solar panel?" That's bananas. That was not that funny.
Exactly.
Cut it out. What's up, Jay?
That's
Late to the
funny.
party. No, it was not funny. That's the parents' job to enforce that. Oh, okay. I don't know what 2% said, but
Oh, that's funny. That was hilarious. You didn't like
I
that.
feel like y'all goofy, so y'all get that. Y'all, that's the kind of stuff y'all find funny. Hey, Dagata. MJ is a character. MJ, she's the homie, but I'm learning. I got a little glimpse of her being a character, and if she shared it, she didn't like put it on Front Street. She was just like, but to be honest with you, I'm really excited about so on and so forth. But anyway, so I'm just gonna attribute that goofiness to both of y'all. So that's why you found it funny.
That's hilarious. I feel like that was a perfect joke.
That
I feel like it was a perfectly crafted joke.
there you go.
Oh
Oh
man.
man, I'm thinking of making a battery system to go with mine. You should. Did y'all see Jehu's video? He had posted it in the EcoFlow group. He just posted it, no context, no comment. I was like, I guess that's how Jehu rolls. He just dropped the joint in there. I need to go watch it because some people commented on it like, man, this is clutch. It's a good idea. Rhea was off in there. Talking about something that I feel like that piqued my interest as well. So I had to like jump in, and I feel like I need to watch that video to see what it's about. It's about adding extra battery to the EcoFlow Delta Pro. All right.
Oh, that's a cool name.
What?
Growing what I eat. I'm even more so interested in growing now because I mean not that I will be able to here in this home, but we've been juicing these last few days and it's been really
Hmm.
cool. It's been really expensive though, and a lot of work. You know what I mean? It's like 2, 3 extra steps because you gotta like get rid of the pesticides and it's just feel like, man, why do I gotta go through all this just for us to eat well? You know what I mean?
Dog life.
So if we were to grow our own stuff, we wouldn't have to do all that. And then the
Just
soil would be nice and rich, and so like the flavor of the food and you know what I mean would just be really good.
there you go. I support your indulgence because I ain't put my hands in no dirt.
Well, why?
I'm just not into it.
Wear gloves and
Nah, nah, fam. I'm not there. Hey, I am who I am. And that's all that I am. Regenerative. I always struggle with this. Wayne, what's happening? Good day. This is why I do not spend thousands on a large. Oh yeah, I would rather build a DIY with lithium batteries. That's a fact. I dig that 100%. But then you got to know what you're doing, right? Um, I wanted to pause there for a second. That name, I don't recognize that name. Where was it? Grow what you eat.
mm-hmm.
Did you change your name recently, and did you update your picture recently? Because the face don't look familiar and the name don't look familiar. But I appreciate you being here. That's all I wanted to say. Um, wait. I just bought my first 48-volt server rack. Nice. That's interesting. Lots of potential. That's
Oh,
yeah.
Jason on. Isn't Jason on?
That's yeah. Setai is in he's into them battery systems heavy. I'm not quite there yet. I'm interested, but I'm definitely not spending my own coin. I ain't got it like that. It was delivered today. That must be a good time, man. Jeez, cool stuff.
2% how many hours? We in the same boat then, really?
What you talking
We
about?
2% in the same boat.
I don't watch any other solar person but you. I already don't know what y'all be talking about. So I'll keep that there. I dig it. I
I
dig it.
can even set
Hopefully,
it
I
up.
do my best to make it, more like digestible, so to speak. It's definitely challenging, but work it.
Yeah, that's true.
Fresh food, fresh fruits, vegetables, berries. It don't get no better. I dig
Yeah,
that.
I
Hey,
bet. I bet.
I'm waiting for it. Yeah, as soon as she start doing it, I'm gonna start eating it. What's up, Andrew? Good to see you, man.
Is it Boucher?
Yeah, that's Wayne's brother.
Oh, nice. Well, hello there. Oh, that's cool.
So, Solar is my obsession, so I'm feeding it, watching, and learning from you guys. That's what's up.
That's cool.
I'm surprised he ain't around here. Yeah, it used to be growing what I eat every day. Well, it's the same. Yeah, that's not different. Yeah,
Yeah, that would be like,
definitely having trouble finding you.
yeah,
That's for
I
sure.
can see that.
There you go. And that's why power stations are dope, because that's all you got to do is plug them in, charge them, and use them when you need them. Thug
Well,
life.
okay. That's not necessarily true, but it is. You gotta know, like, you gotta turn the AC on, or just be like,
Yeah, you just
I
got to
give up
apply
so
yourself.
fast.
She's been getting
It's
better.
like I want to plug in. That's it. I gotta plug it in. I gotta hold it. Sometimes I gotta hold the power button in.
Sometimes.
You know what I mean? Then I gotta press the AC on or whatever. I gotta find it
So
again.
complex.
Well, yeah. Versus plugging in and wall. Done.
That's a fair point. Why we have the TV going, watching this show?
The kids.
Any hoot. Okay, so what else do I have to talk about? Um, Talked about that. So I got some new panels. I got some new panels.
Mm-hmm.
I got some
And see,
300.
I'd be happy for you. Like I was actually when like the sale went through
Uh-huh.
because the last time you was like, "Yep, they busted."
Yep.
I was like, "Oh,"
Can't be
like
trusted.
I was really kind of like sad because there's so much effort you put forth in deciding on whether or not you're, and then that was like a bidding situation. It was just like, oh man. So when this sale actually went through, I was like, "Oh, that's cool."
I appreciate that. Appreciate your
Yeah, I was
joy.
really happy for you.
So I got
I mean, I don't want
two.
them on the railing, but
Yeah, they're too big for the railing. I got two 300-watt Hyundai solar panels. They're like all black frames. I don't care nothing about that. But there's a lot to talk about with these panels. It was a good move away. I had to drive for quite a bit to get them. It was nothing like crazy, maybe 45 minutes, an hour, something like that. Hold on, I want to pull this thing up and see if I can see. Oh my gosh, watching TV. I can't see this no better either. Man, I'm getting old, man. That's what it is. I'm just getting old.
like we're literally we're inching out of the whole young adult uh like category. Like I saw this flyer for the event that I went to, Acoustic
Hmm.
Soul, and it's like for young adult, believers between 25 and 40ish. I was like, ooh, because I'm 42, so it's like, oh, I'm no longer a young adult.
Yeah. I don't feel like. Yeah, I don't know. I don't care about that kind of stuff.
I mean,
So
it's definitely a different crowd. It's definitely a young crowd, very youthful, and there's a part
I
of me I
wouldn't
was like,
even
I
want. I
don't
don't
want to
know
be
if I was
here.
even like 30. If I was 35, if I would want. What did it say? 25 to.
25 to like 40ish. It's
That's
like,
fair.
yeah.
I feel like that 40-ish is there because there's some people who kind of want to be around those younger folks.
No, I
That
think
ain't
it's
really like
no, I don't know about that.
40-ish is stretching. I feel like most 40-year-olds don't want to be around 25-year-olds.
Yeah, I was feeling like, yeah, I don't think I want to be here. Like the energy is just different, you know what I mean? And yeah, just I am where I am now.
Um, okay. I found your channel on Lead Farmers channel. It's very informative being here. I have to get my solar game up. Hey,
Hey,
well, you're
shout
in
out.
good company. Good company.
Hmm.
We're gonna leave it at that.
I was gonna say shout out to Lead Farmers.
Oh, all day. Yeah, definitely shout out to Lead Farmer. He don't see eye to eye with me, but shout out to him. What's the best place in your opinion to find a 200-watt panel? Any brand you recommend? Well, it depends on the power station you're putting it into. Because if you have a high voltage power station, then you could entertain possibly trying to find larger panels on the marketplace in your area. But I have like I have multiple 200-watt panels that I purchased all from Amazon. I'm over buying panels from Amazon, kinda, sorta, because the price is $1 per watt. But when you start getting into those bigger panels, even used, you can start getting like 50 cents, 60 cents a watt, maybe even a little bit less. Those panels I got them for less than 50 cents a watt. So that was a good look. Now, here's the thing about those panels. My Renogy 320 is outperforming them by 20 watts under every scenario. I shouldn't say every scenario, but right now how I have them set up, they're outperforming them. So if I'm getting 80 from my 320 on an overcast day, I'm getting 60 from the 300s. I don't know why, because they're essentially the same panel. The voltage is about 39 volts by 10 amps. I'm sorry, that's not accurate. It's about like 8, 9 some odd amps, and it'll probably be like 36, 37 volts or something like that. The numbers are very close.
Like this is where me and 2% be like.
Yeah. Volts times amps is watts. You know
But
what I mean?
MJ, I
It's
feel like she right with you there.
that's how you get it. So if you have something that can take in higher volts, I would look into bigger panels. So the reason why I say that is because you can possibly find a 250-watt panel, a 275-watt panel. It's going to be like 66 inches by 40 something or whatever. But you can get that dip for like $90. JC DIY, he got a couple 250s in his local area, and he got them for like $100 a pop. So pay 200 for an HQST Rich Solar Bruges RV from Amazon to have it shipped, or find a slightly used 250-watt panel for $100. So it's like it just depends on which way you want to go.
So no brand in particular you care about.
No, yeah, I don't care about brand. I have a 200-watt Renogy and a Blue Eddy. A 200-watt Blue Eddy or just a Blue Eddy panel? We both are young. Yeah, we'll take it. Hey, listen, I've been looking younger than I actually am my whole life, and I'm like, when I get older, y'all gonna be mad. So I'll take it. My little baby face that's been following me around.
Mm-hmm.
So I do want to. Okay. So I have these three. I have three 300-watt panels now. Whatever. I knew you was gonna dip soon.
What? No,
I
I'm
ain't.
staying, but I'm gonna check on that. Check on them.
I have these three 300-watt panels, and this is what I wanted to talk to you guys about, to get some insight. Because right now, I have them going into three separate power stations. My Renogy goes into the Alcatel. The first panel goes into the Duran. And then the second panel, I didn't have set up. I actually recorded a video of me putting that into production. That's gonna go to Patreon first. It may not even come to YouTube. Shout out to the Patreon supporters. I appreciate you guys. They get stuff early and they get videos that don't make it to YouTube. They're not practical to come to YouTube because they're super casual. Super casual, and they don't. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know how to explain it, but I have some videos that I make that I feel as a growing creator are not ideal for YouTube because they won't necessarily get the views and all that jazz. I put those over on Patreon. Now, the whole idea of Patreon is not to pay for the content. It's that you rock with me enough and you want to kind of support the channel continuing to grow. Toss a few coins your boy's way, and then you get some benefits because you rock with me. You don't rock with me for the videos. But that video is going to go over to Patreon. Um, me setting that up. So what I did was I put the third one into my Pecron. That Pecron is a little beastie joint. And I really had this dilemma. I've recorded a bunch of like little videos here and there just about, prospecting. Okay, what am I going to do with these panels? Now, I do want to take us on a field trip to show you guys the panels. And I need to find the right phone that I feel like would be easy to, that definitely ain't it. So we're gonna step outside on the back porch for a second. Let's see here. I need to find the link and open that thing up. It should come through on the back camera. I'm going to try and keep this audio going, not this audio, but I don't know if that's going to work because when I pull myself down from here, um, it basically removes me completely. I definitely don't want that. Let's do camera, facing front, facing front, facing back, allow. Which one is that one? Is that the right one? Or do I want like the super wide? I don't think I want super wide. Let's go backwards. Audio. Shoot, I don't want to use this audio, but I think I'm going to have to. Maybe not. We'll see. Display name. It's funny the kind of dilemmas that I'm running into with these. See if I can mute that. And then I need the volume down. Let's enter the studio. You are backstage. It's a little shaky. So let's add to stream. Can I do video on one? I don't know. That is not ideal. How do you like the Pecron? The thing is a little beast. It's a beast. Hey, Grand Acres, good to see you. A Blue Eddie. Looking forward to seeing your new panels. Yeah, you showing. I'm trying to show them off now. Sheesh, if I could do it, I may have to go with the audio here. So let me see. Unmute. Holy moly. Okay. I'm going to wait. Can you guys tell me that you can hear me here before I get up and walk off? And then I'll get up and walk off and we'll keep the party going. Let me see if I get it quicker here. Okay, you can hear me. Thanks, Jay. Excuse me, baby. All right, so speaking of the balcony, so I temporarily deployed this one right here. This is my All Powers 200 watt. And what I did was when I tried to get the panels off the balcony, I left these two here because I feel like they're largely out of the way. I felt like that makes sense to have a panel that's portable be up here on the balcony so I could take it down very easily. So this is where the joints ended up. That's my two 200s that were up on the porch. And these are my three 300s that I have now. That one and that one are new additions. That one is a new addition as well. A video is coming up about that soon. Now, here's my problem. All three of these are in three separate things. So you see all these wires I got? I got multiple wires going into my garage. Now, what I was thinking about was here go the dogs. What I was thinking about doing, because I have a problem here because the EB120 has the ability to take that voltage because it goes up to like what 50 volts, 60 volts or something like that. My problem with the Pecron, which is what this is on now, because it's a beastie little power station. Look at this rabbit over here just chilling. I'm so done with these animals, y'all. I want them off my property, all of them. Birds aren't even welcome. Thug life. The problem with this 200 watt panel being on my EB120 and the EB120 being capable of taking power from this is when I put this on the EB120, 40 volt, 10 amp panel, let's just call it that for the sake of simplicity, even though it's a 300 watt. When I pull this one out of rotation, the Pecron is maxed out at 100 watts on the, see, this is what I'm talking about. Y'all about to notice this, see this thing get shot at. Hey, about to get a rock thrown at him. Yeah, there you go. Get going. You ain't welcome. If I put this 200 watt on the Pecron, it has to go into the 5521 port and it maxes out at 100 watts. So I literally can't take this panel and put it on the EB120, because that will leave me with this panel, and that panel would be basically useless on the pet grind. Now, something that just hit me is I could put all three of these. I don't know if I'll do this, but I could put all three of these in series and put them in the AC 200p. I was arguing with myself against that because I feel like, man, I don't want to throw 900 watts at a 700 watt max cap power station. That just feels weird to me. But if you take into account that typically on all these panels, I get about 80% output. So that's 900 watts minus 20%. That's 180. So let's just call it 200 watts. That bumps this array down to 700. The AC 200p maxes out at 700 watts. So I've really been pondering that just in the last like hour or so, to keep it a buck with you. And then what I would end up here is this 600 watt array. I will probably either run it into this zone. This is where I'm sitting doing my live stream, and this is where an AC is going to be in the window. That will give me the 500 watts because, again, the same rule applies. 600 watts, you take 20% off the top just for degraded performance. Not degraded performance, but just for like less than optimal luminance in the sun. I don't know what it is, but I don't get 600 watts from them. You take that, you're right at about 500, 60, 60, 120, about 480. 480 watts. I think those devices actually, that blows me out of the water. I take all of that back. It blows me out of the water because this is a 60 volt array. That power station cannot take 60 volts, but my Duran Duran can. So maybe I bring the Duran Duran upstairs to take advantage of this array, and I could do something here down into the basement and have this come all the way up here. Now, what I did here was I ran a little bit of an extension cable, rolled it up a little bit, and just ran the wire. And then these cables are too heavy, so I just split them between this little post. It wasn't ideal, but it worked. So I didn't have to put a brick here. And there's a video coming about that and all that jazz. So that's where I stand. Originally, I was talking about taking this Ariska and then using that to get rid of these, but that is not necessarily going to pan out for me. But this is what I'm dealing with having all these panels. And as you guys can see, the trees are gone. There's a video I'm editing on that now, which I don't know how that's going to end up. I think it'll be okay, a good fit for the channel, but it just depends on whether or not I can make it work. If I can't make it work, it's going to go to Patreon, and I'm going to just put a short out just so people could kind of follow the timeline. All right. So that's enough of that. And then this is the bullback. That's going to be going to somebody soon. All right, let's get back to the joints. Add to stream. Remove. Let's mute. And then I should be back. The volume is different between that phone and this live stream, so I'm sure the volume is has to normalize. Let's see. Okay. Loud and clear. Thanks. I appreciate that. My solar setup is working for my needs now that I have these solar panels on my roof and installed by my village. I charge all my power stations to 100% during the day. That's what's up. I'm glad that's working out for you. Use my power stations only during the night. My past two electric bills were only $14. That's word. Jeez. Thanks, MJ. Thanks. Thank you for that video. Definitely goals for me. Hey, that's what's up. Nice filter. Lots of panels, lots of options, right? Jeez. Man. Now, at first, when I was thinking about those 300 watt panels, I was thinking about like, man, it would be ideal if I had like an AC 200 max, because then that's 900 watts on paper matched up with 900 watts of capable input, right? But then I did that whole math thing, and I'm like, realistically, I'm not gonna get all of that. And the only reason why I'm thinking about combining those joints is because Again, lately I've been consolidating panel arrays. I don't like the idea of pumping that much solar into a power station that pretty much only runs a deep freezer and a mini fridge. But I would just kind of settle into another power dumping scheme. I have three batteries that I can power dump at 3 kilowatts a piece. I'm sorry, 3 kilowatts total. I would have multiple power stations, at least two, well, one power station that would no longer be on the solar array, depending on how I set it up. So I could kind of dump into that one. But that means when I'm not home, I'm kind of like, I have the potential to be missing out on solar. And I'm not a fan of that. But that's what I've been pondering lately. But for now, they're all three are on separate power stations. The Pecron is a little monster for being able to take in that 400, that 300 watts. I saw it got like 280 today, but it's been raining. So it was like a rain cool panel and then the heat kind of smacking it. You get your best results in that situation. So, oh, what's going on here? Is it delayed over here? Oh, it's delayed heavily. Let's go live here. Man, fun times though. That's for sure. Now, another thing that comes to mind is my EcoFlow being out of the mix. That has resulted in me having. Hey, you in there? Okay, can you turn it down just a little bit? It's like I don't want to hear it all clear. That EcoFlow coming back into the mix is going to be interesting because I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. It may sit over there, but that fan noise is so annoying. Here's my problem. I just got a new power station. It's by Loompal. Let me look it up so I can know exactly what I'm talking about. It's very similar to the M series of the Super Base power stations, the ones that have the how did the Brit say it? Aluminium, aluminum frame around it. I was very interested in that device just solely from the standpoint of the fact that the smaller ones were quiet. They were fanless. So that came in. I'm super excited about that one because of that. And it's been running my internet. It's been like working like a champ. Let me see if I can find it and show it to y'all. I always forget the name. I want to say Loom Pal, but that's probably not it. Now, I don't think that one is not LFP. So that's an interesting kind of caveat. But it's one that I'm not necessarily bothered by. We talked about that in the last Power Smart video. I'm gonna have to go into my email, and I don't feel like doing that right now. But the overall point that I'm getting at is that 512 watt hour device being over there against a 200-watt panel gets full very quickly, so I have to power dump from that. And I don't know if I'm gonna want to keep doing that. But with it having the Wi-Fi connectivity, it's a really cool device to have. My OG River has been holding me down in terms of it being basically just as capable as the River 2 Max. So what I've been doing is using that. Let me just say, it's been raining for like the last 6 days. You get a little sun here and there, but I'll get back to that in a second. It's been holding me down over there, being able to dump power from it. So I have to stay on top of that one. But that's the cost of having the device go down and need to be shipped back to EcoFlow. LA Times commented, he was like, man, I love EcoFlow, but this stuff where you have to return to them is like, it's played out basically. And I was like, you know what? That's a good point. And he was like, I don't know if I want to spend a whole lot of coin with them, considering that I may have to do that. And I understand that, especially if it's like your main device. It's like, who wants to be without their main device for a week, 2 weeks while they figure out what they're supposed to do with it. So at any rate, that EcoFlow River 2 Max has sat in that zone since I got it. It's never done anything else. And when I was kind of like messing around with it, using it to get my power back out of it or charging it back up because I wanted to test something or update the firmware before I sent it back or something like that. It's a really nifty device to just have on hand to be able to put power into. And you know, it fast charges. So I don't know if I want to get used to the idea of having that be outside of the zone. Now, this Loom Pal power station is interesting in a way because it maxes out at 150 watts. You compare that to the EcoFlow, which maxes out at 200. You have a little bit of a comparison there, a little bit of a fight. But the thing is, I typically don't get that much power into the EcoFlow to begin with. Even when I have the sun kind of really nice and I have my panel angled decently, I get about 135, 140. That's pretty much what I'm doing. And if it's a rainy, like cold panel, bright sun kind of day, I might get higher, but I don't know how I feel about having a situation where my main power station over there does not have Wi-Fi connectivity. I've grown very accustomed to being able to control that over the app. That just works very well in my workflow. And I wouldn't entertain taking the EcoFlow River out of that zone if the fan wasn't so loud on the Max 2. Now, I did watch Jason Noyer's review and I watched Hobotech's review recently of the Pro, and they were saying that the fan is quieter on there. But I don't have those, and I don't have enough pull for EcoFlow to be sending me one at this point. So I don't know. If I had that EcoFlow Pro, I would put that there. If the fan was cool, that would live there. And then that would charge any power station that I would have, and I would have that run my internet. Even though the 800 watt hours on the EcoFlow would probably be a good companion for my internet as well, because then I don't have to worry about it dying in like 12 hours. The River Max gives me a good like 14, 15 hours at its max capacity because that inverter is not that efficient. Now, I don't remember what Jason Noy got on his efficiency for his EcoFlow River 2 Pro, but Hobotech got decent numbers. And that Bullbat, whenever I put my internet on that, it would give me 20, like 22 hours. I get like 15 from the river of comparable watt hour capacity. So I like the idea of having a Wi-Fi connected device that feeds into a non-Wi-Fi connected device, and then I could just monitor that. I don't have to be as pressed to stay on top of it because it has 512 watt hours. And then with the 1,000 watt hour device being next to it, that's typically going to be mostly full. And it's been, imagine if I could get 22 hours. No, I remember when I plugged it in and I was running just the internet, it was telling me that it would last for 40 hours. All I really need is to be able to get through the night up until the day to start getting power again. So now let's talk about the rain, because the rain has been very interesting. You know, I've consolidated all of these arrays. I mostly have 200 watt arrays. I have one, two, three, four, like four 200 watt arrays, one 400 watt array, one 600 watt array, and then I have now these three 300 watt panels. I think I counted that right. I still got panels that aren't deployed, but that's a whole nother thing we're going to talk about in a second. I have all these arrays. You get 10% roughly from these arrays on overcast days. I've been really limping along quite well with these panels and getting sun at that very low output. You think about my 600 watt array on that AC200P, I'm getting about 70 to 80 watts from it. And it has to be like really overcast and not super bright for it to be right at the 10%. If it's bright, I'm getting more than 10%, approaching like 20, 25% panel output. So you keep in mind that I only have my fridge, my deep freezer downstairs. They only use about 100, 125 watts, 75 watts, depending on when they're on. They cycle on and off. I've been limping along, and it's been cool. Then I have this setup right here, which is the Ace Volt. The Ace Volt has a 400 watt array on it. So worst case scenario, I'm getting 40 watts. Sometimes it'll be like 25, 38, something like that. My laptop and my external monitor and all that jazz typically sit at about 36 watts if I'm not using my real monitor, which I don't use a whole lot. I typically use my laptop and my portable monitor that runs off a USB-C. It's a 5 volt monitor, so it's using like 5-6 watts anyway. So I'm at about 36 watts for my productivity zone, and when I'm fully charged, it drops down to about 20. So if it's overcast, I'm still good money. The only downside is in my workflow, not my workflow, but my solar workflow, I use power stations until they're dead. So I often have a situation where this power station is at what? What's it at? It's at 9%. I'm gonna show you. Let's see here. Let's see here. Let's add this. You can look here. I have the Pecron running the live stream today because this one wasn't probably going to last long enough. So it has 10% in there. It's getting in about 20 watts. Y'all, you see what I mean? 20 watts. Y'all saw what the conditions were outside. And I'm using 15. And that's just my lamp right there, which is using 10. And it's probably charging up this phone right here. Which is probably how I got to 15. Oh wow, Susie. Hi, Susie. Thank you for the coinage. I appreciate that greatly. Let me see what y'all snapping and trapping about. If anything, I feel like y'all just kind of strapped in and listening. Can you put your arrays on rolling contraptions and roll them in and out of the garage? DIY, of course. That's interesting. That's interesting. The thing is, like, here's the thing with building. It takes up so much space to do that. Because you got to build a contraption, and then now I have this contraption that my panels are on. I have to store that in the garage. And keep in mind, during the winter, our van goes in the garage, so I can't live as heavy as I want to because I have to worry about being able to clear that garage out so the van could come in. And it's not a big garage. Let's see what this is about. Long time no see. Thanks for sharing this info. Hey, listen, I appreciate that greatly. Thank you, Susie. You think I could run my EB70 on a mini freezer without using the apartment's power? A mini freezer? You should be able to. Do you have a mini fridge, or are you just thinking about getting one? Because if you're thinking about getting one, let me see if you answer. Do you have one already? Because the only thing you have to be concerned about is the surge. And I've seen my mini fridge spike up to about like 5 something. I don't pay close attention to it, but I don't know if that would run off of my mini fridge is also very old. We've had that thing for almost a decade, probably longer. It was before we had kids and all that jazz. So if you're thinking about getting one, just if you gonna go buy one from the store, okay. But those things are always for sale on the marketplace here. So I'm sure they're always for sale in the marketplace everywhere. Because yeah, you could find a fairly good used one and rock out. And then when you just go to take a look at it, just bring your power station with you. And if you just want one off of GP, I think that the EB70 Max is out at 700 watts. You know what? I'll try it. I'll try it and see what happens. I don't think I've seen more than 700-800 on that joint. I would think my big fridge would spike something crazy, but not the mini fridge. I don't think so. My mini will run on the EB70. Thanks, Jay. Appreciate that college size. Yeah, nice. Now, pay attention to how much they cost because you may just want to entertain getting a DC fridge because then that'll run for a long time. They use about 40 watts and they're not on all the time as well. And if you have eco mode off on your EB70, then your EB70 won't turn off. And I feel like eco mode typically comes off on those. I don't have the 70S, so I'm not sure what that's like, but I don't think the eco mode was on my EB70. Costco has a small one when I guess it's small. I was eyeing it. How much was it? I wonder. Let's see here. Did I explain it well enough that I think I did. That's one of my disappointments. It's hard to be disappointed in that Pecron. I think is a monster. The LFP 600, uh, whatever it is. That thing is $349 on Pecron's site, which is crazy, and it's $299 on eBay, which is bananas. I think it's the you can't beat that. We pay like $500 for the EB70, and that EB70 was crazy in that time. But you're getting 614 watt hours, a 400-watt capable solar situation, and a 100-watt solar situation. You can't use them at the same time, so it's flexible. Then you get, I think, a 1200-watt inverter, and that's not boost. That's just 1200 watts. I think it's 1200. I don't think it's 600 in the boost. I could check that, but I'm not going to at the moment. So that one, yeah. Right now, it's on the 300-watt panel until I figure out what to do. It just has to be. The interesting thing is the All Powers R600 is another one that has a crazy like voltage range. I think it goes up to 60 volts. So I could literally pull that down there and have that get power, but it's only like 200 some odd watt hours. So I would really have to stay on top of that one. And then, I talk about this a 100-watt panel, they say will give you 500 watt hours. So that means a 300-watt panel is going to give you 1.5 kilowatt hours or 1500 kilowatt hours over the course of the day. So it'll take me about half the day, not half the day, like a quarter of the day, the Sunday, to get that power into that Pecron, because it's getting 280 some odd watts, 250 watts. Typically, what I see from my Renogy 320, and remember, it's outperforming those panels by 20 watts. I'll see like 250 if I just don't mess with it and just kind of let it lay out there. And I never mess with it. I'll reposition it, but I don't angle it and all of that jazz. It's either in the yard facing the sun or it's in my driveway, like y'all saw, facing the sun for the rest of the south facing day. So 250 watts, 2 hours, that's 500. The battery is only 614 watt hours. So I really have to stay on top of that one. What I could do is I could throw a Wi Fi switch on there. And if the Wi-Fi reaches to the garage, I could just literally think about it like, okay, it's a sunny day. I'm not home. I know that Pecron is getting 200, 225, 250 watts. Let it run for an hour or two. The AC is on before I leave the house. Have the Wi-Fi switch enabled. Then at about 2 hours or so, have something beastie plugged into it, like a battery charger against 1280 watt hours of capacity. And then I have extended its solar ability, its solar intake from 614 to 1800 watt hours, because it's 614 plus 1280. It's a 12-volt, 100 amp hour battery. So it's 12 times 100, and it's 12.7, 12.8 volts to be technical. So 12.8 times 100 is 1280 watt hours. So I could do that, and then that gives me a little more cushion to be able to have that power come in and not have a full power station. I am not a fan of full power stations. I would not have it. Then realistically, if we think about like, a situation where we're dumping in 700 watts into the AC 200p, would I want the AC 200p to come upstairs? Because now I have panels, I have a cable running down the porch down into the yard, which is something that it works out pretty good, to be honest. I don't miss having them on the porch. The porch is convenient because I could put those joints right out on the balcony and I get sun earlier in the day. But it could be six one way, half a dozen another, because at some point in the evening, the next door neighbor's house starts blocking my porch, but then my yard still gets a little more solar for that time. So it's an interesting kind of trade off. And then also, those panels are now laying flat, so they can't be angled. When they were on my porch, one would be laying flat and one would be angled, kind of following the sun. So I'd move it like about twice a day. All right, all right, all right. Now, I did want to talk about as it relates to those 300-watt panels. Am I happy with that purchase? Yes and no. And the reason why is because now you see that I have to kind of figure out what I'm going to do with these panels. Whereas like my ideal situation was to get 400 watts in that same footprint. And then when I took my four 100-watt panels, which I've talked about on these live streams, those are in the garage now. They're out of commission. I'm probably going to sell two of the 100-watt panels. When I replaced it, I wasn't downgrading it. So I could take that one 400-watt panel and then replace those four 100-watt panels. And then if I wanted to use the second 400-watt panel, I could then pop that right in place of my two 200-watt panels that are on this Ace Volt. So it's like 4 for 4. Then if I was in a situation where I bought multiple of those panels at a price point that I could stomach, I could do two 400s in the place of the three 600s that I have on the AC 200P, thus giving that one 800 watts of lay flat power. And that's between two panels instead of three. Right now, I will never move those panels that are on that AC 200P. If I put all three of those panels in series, the 300s, they ain't gonna never move either. They're just gonna be where they are, and then I'm living the scrub life like a lot of people, where they just have their panels where they are, and they just live there. So if I had a bigger yard, I would probably still not build something, but I'd entertain building something so I could at least move the panels on some type of not fixed axis, but just wheel it, like pointing towards the sun, the west, the east, and then pointing towards the south. And then if I had enough space in my yard, then pointing towards the sun setting. So sunrise for a little bit, sun at the top of the day for a little bit, and then sun leaving for a little bit. And I would rock out like that. That would be great. So the 300s are cool. For what I paid for them, they're fantastic. The fact that they're being underperforming my 320 watt Renogy, it saddens me a little bit. But for what I paid for them, I got them at like $100 a pop. So it's like 33 cents a watt. I ain't got no complaints at all. We talked about that. Now, I talked about potential power stations that I would be interested in. The AC 200 Max, we talked about that a little bit. I was kind of idealizing that one because that one maxes out at 900 watts. We now know that that situation, it works out for the AC 200P as well, even though it maxes out at 700, because I only get about 80% output on, and not more than an average. On most days, I get about 80%. Now, I still like the idea of having an AC 200 Max. That would be cool because it can take in more solar. But ideally, I'm still kind of like into that AC 300, because then you could put two solar arrays into that dip. And then if I have, again, this is with the mindset of consolidating panels, not having as much cabling going out of my garage. I would have two panel situations that could run into one power station, and then I could feed all my other power stations from there. Would that be a nightmare for me as a micromanager? Possibly. But that's also future proofing me, because whenever I get this electric panel upgraded and I get a transfer switch, that's perfection in my mind. Two solar strings that I don't have to worry about matching volt for volt, amp for amp. I could have the 900 watt array going into one string of the AC 300, and then I have five 200-watt panels, give or take. I don't know if they all share enough commonality to put them all in a series string, 20, 40, 60, 81. Yeah, that will work. 120. What I was doing just now is I was adding up the voltages of those panels. They're all 12-volt panels. So they sit at about a variance of 20 volts up to 24. So if you add that, 21, 21, 21, 21, 21 across five, how many panels do I have? I got a bunch. I have three 190s, a 200, a 180, another 200. So I have six 200-ish panels. I would not be able to put all six of those in a string, that's for sure. But at least three of them could go in a string, and then maybe even four I could kind of push. But anyway, So what I'm getting at is the AC300 would be kind of a perfect situation, getting in tons of power. You could have the Duran, the Alcatel, all getting 1100 watts from them on Wi-Fi switches just to manage the load. My understanding is I believe the AC300 and the AC200 Max have Wi-Fi connectivity. I think I'm pretty sure the 300 does. No. They may have Bluetooth. Bluetooth is fine. It's not my favorite. What I would probably do is what Off Grid Smart House does. He runs like Team Viewer or something on one of his phones, and then he remotely accesses that phone. And then as he's remotely on that phone, he uses the phone's Bluetooth to then access his and manage his Bluetooth enabled power stations. Does that make sense to everybody? Um, because Bluetooth is short range, so he kind of tunnels into his phone and then uses his phone Bluetooth in the proximity in his house to manage his Bluetooth enabled devices. I thought about doing that just in general because I have the All Powers, which is Bluetooth. My EB3A is Bluetooth, but it's like it's not worth it for those right now. But I got enough phones. Jeez, I got phones that I don't even use. This phone I never use. This is a OnePlus 6 something or another. It's my de-Googled phone. I got it and I de-Googled it so Google can't be following me around and all that jazz. But I don't use it as often. And the main reason why I don't use it is because I have a SIM card in here that only gets 500 megabytes of data. Sometimes I do grab it and pull it out when I go for a quick trip. And what I say to myself is when I take that phone with me, Google and Apple still think I'm at home. So it's an interesting little tidbit. Now, also wanted to talk about my power usage because what I've been doing, I've been having like 5 kilowatt hour days. And with all of this rain, I'm still having, I think, without it, when it's cold, my wife kind of messes everything up by turning the heater on. But if it's not cold, then I'm limping along with this power. So I'm still having like 11 kilowatt hour days. What's typical for me and my family is about 18, 17. Ever since solar entered the mix, I would get down to like, 16, 15, 14. But now, because I have these bigger power stations and these bigger solar arrays, I've gotten down to about 5 kilowatt hours. And what I'm aiming for, I want to show you guys something on my bill. There's like this aspect of life where they say your home is using this much power compared to more efficient homes. And I'm just like, that just feels like some hateration to me. Let me see if I can share my screen here. Because I'm always in the middle. I'm trying to get to the point where I'm not in the middle. Let me see if I can share just that. See if that works. And then we'll go full screen with that. Can I zoom in and does that impact you guys? So you can see my home, it says using 280, what's that? 284 kilowatt hours, and that's a month or whatever. And then efficient homes use 247. So I'm chasing that lower number, not specifically that 247, but I just want to be beneath that. I want to have my home be an efficient home. It's hilarious. They be trying to shame me, man. Some clowns trying to make me feel bad about my life. But one thing that puts it into perspective for me is something that I keep in mind is that we're a family of six, and we're home a lot. My wife is home all the time, so it's just like to put that into perspective. We use power and we're here all day compared to people outside of the pandemic. We're here all day compared to people who are only at home for a certain amount of time because they go off to school and they go off to work. So it's like our power usage is in between people. Yeah, you get what I'm saying. I think we're doing just fine, and I'm not allowing this electric company to shame me, but I'm also still chasing that number. Bunch of clowns trying to make me feel bad. So another situation I found myself in is I have a bunch of folding panels. I have two rock piles, one ETFE, one PET. I have the big, hey Saya, can you go play in the living room, please? I have the Big Blue and the X Star, which are two 100-watt panels. The rock piles are 100-watt panels as well. I also have the All Powers 200-watt. What else? I just got the Elicanta. I've had the Elicanta for a little bit, but I just put the video out. So that's what? Six folding solar panels. The problem with my rock pals, I use those. I can only use those when it's like super sunny out and there's no inclement weather on the way because they use Anderson connectors and the Anderson connectors aren't waterproof. So that kind of shoots me in the foot. I feel bad sometimes because what I've been doing is I've been chasing power, which is why the panel is out on the Porsche 200-watt all powers. And I also have the LA Conta out in the front. Another like situation where it's a folding panel. I can easily fold that up and just get it out of my wife's way so she doesn't have to worry about it. But I have a situation where I don't know what I want to do with those panels. I thought about selling them, and I would probably sell the two rock piles more than anything. The downside is that those panels, even though they're very expensive, I mean, these are budget-friendly panels, but folding panels are typically more expensive than rigid panels. They don't really, people aren't really into that. But because I have them, I'll be wanting to use them, and I can't use them because they're not weatherproof at the connectors. And in order to deploy them, I need to deploy them in such a way where I can keep the connectors out of the weather. So it only gives me so much space by my garage to like get them out there and then get them in. Another interesting thing with the Big Blue and the X Star, I could put those together in parallel because the Big Blue, even though it dead ends in 5525, it has its own 5525 to 8 millimeter adapter. I can't use this on anything else, but it's for that panel. So I have it kind of set over here to the side. This came with my X Star. It's an 8 millimeter to Anderson. I thought for all this time it was an 8 millimeter that dead in 8 millimeter, but it dead ends in Anderson. So I could put the Big Blue and the X Star in parallel and have another 200-watt array. And on days when it's raining and overcast and all that jazz, to be able to get 20 watts, 30 watts, 40 watts from some panels that I just wouldn't have out at all, that's a good look. I got all these power stations that are power hungry and looking for that joint. So I got space to put it. And I'll be wanting all the power because I want to maintain my power usage being low for as long as possible. So the rock pals are the ones that I can envision just like trying to sell. Um, that's kind of where I'm at with it. What time am I looking at? 1:22. Gardening with Eve said she was going to come through. She had some questions, but I guess she got tied up. Okay, 269, and it's a 7 cubic foot, 115 volt, 60 hertz. I would look into DC Freeze 2% at $300. I feel like check the marketplace, Facebook, Craigslist, uh, and see what's going on there before you spend almost $300 on a mini fridge. Those tips would be like $100 online. And if you could find a motivated seller, you could probably get it for like 80, 70 or something like that. Now, I don't know what it's like in California. I'm in Pennsylvania. So um, I think DC fridges are like, they'll be like 369. I wish Jason was still around. If he's still around, because he messes around with like Set Point, and I don't know what the budget DC fridges are out there, but I feel like you could get a DC fridge and it may be just worth it to spend the extra amount of money to have the more efficient situation where you have a freezer, cooler. Some of them have dual zone and all that jazz, but I would look into that as well. Don't just go spend $300 for the most part on like a mini fridge because those things are really inefficient. Keep in mind, I haven't tested my main fridge on my wall because it's stuck in a cove, but my mini fridge will use like 125 watts These videos that I've watched of people talking about their big refrigerators, they use about 125 watts. Now, granted, I've had mine for like more than 10 years. So it's old, it's inefficient, I suppose. But I know for sure that those mini fridges don't have good, is it SEER ratings or whatever? Maybe that's air conditioner. Um, they don't have good ratings. They're very inefficient. So you would be like wasting power trying to purchase that. And you think about that, that's an extra $100. Um, I mean, electricity is somewhat cheap, but not for y'all in Cali. That may be a worthwhile investment to go more efficient. Anybody else have an opinion on that? Okay. I want to drill holes through my interior exterior walls to run MC4 cables, insulate cover plates, etc. Much like the coax cables that the cable guy installs. Opinions. Yeah, that's. I feel like, hey guys, I don't want this energy of playing in this space. It's like y'all can't play with those chairs. Go back into the living room. Daddy will be done soon, and then y'all can have y'all screen time. Okay. So, Grant Acres, to answer your question, I feel like that's a dilemma that a lot of us deal with. What I had in mind, I've been wanting to do this for some time, but my thing is, if it works, I just rock out, man. Running wires through my window works. So that's what I've been doing. Now, what I envision is, what's up?
What you talking about? I'll be done in a minute. Like,
Oh,
hasn't it been an hour?
I committed to 90 minutes, not 60.
When?
That's our the agreement.
Oh,
Is it not?
it may be.
Yeah, it's 90. All right.
No, I think we went back down to just an hour.
No, I may have talked about an hour for a live stream, but it wasn't an hour. Yeah, it's your fault. You don't know. You need to be in the know. You don't get no being unsure. No points for uncertainty. All right, thanks for interrupting.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Let me
Okay,
answer
let me
Grand
get my
Acres.
straight.
Yeah, just thug life all the way over here. Sashaying. Everything. So what I've had in mind is one, okay, it's complex. You could get you could buy an extension cable that has the ends already clipped and it could have the MC4 connectors in the kit, but they're not attached. You could do that. No, probably not. I feel like this toys kind of all up the stairs. They're randomly placed things. I also bought some of these. These are wire cutters. These were recommended by Solar Will. So I grabbed these and they're cutters too. But he has a set of cutters that he recommended that I didn't get because these are cutters. Now, the cutters that he recommended are open ended. These are not. So you have to cut your wire first, then put it in here to cut it, and then put it in here to strip it, to pull it so you could put the MC4 connector on it. So what you could do, I say all that to say, is if you already have an extension cable, what you can do is you can just cut it. You can't, as far as I understand, you can't reuse MC4 connectors. I don't see how that's possible with how they're put on. Maybe somebody knows and can enlighten me. You could run those wires into your house through like an existing cable hole, maybe even pull the cable out. We don't have cable anymore. We haven't had cable in 15 years. We have Fios. So then you pull that out. Why do you keep disturbing me? I'm trying to finish.
Yeah, are you?
Yeah. You run those cables in and then you use your crimper and all that jazz and then you put your MC4 connectors. You can imagine that if I already got it coming in through the window, I don't want to do all that. So that's what some people do. Some people also have, oh really? Nice. Now you just distracted me. A pleasant distraction. Um, there's also some folks will have the little what are they called? they go up against your wall, and then you could seal around them. And they're typically found on RVs. I forget what they're called. They're called something weird. But then you could plug MC4 cables directly into that. Not directly into it. I think you still have to run the cables in and kind of seal them up and all that jazz. So that's my thoughts on that. Another thing that I've had in mind to do is to entertain the idea of at your door. You know how you have was probably better to go like that. You have a wood door. I've entertained the idea of trying to cut some of the door out so that the wires can come into that little hole a little bit better. I don't know that I would do that. Who wants to damage their door? I mean, we own our home and it's just a door, but you know, again, it's working for me in the windows. So I just put them in the windows. I would love to have wires coming in through the wall. My situation with me being a YouTuber, I don't like permanence. So I'm not really a big fan of that. But another thing that helps me out, another thing that puzzles me is where do I want these wires to come in? I was talking to a cousin of mine and I asked him, like, does he have experience drilling into exterior of homes and kind of making connecting the dots? And he said he does. Just let me know when I wanted to. And with that option on the table, I was still kind of like, where would I want the cables to come in? What's the ideal space? I don't know. I already have them coming in my zone one by my TV. I feel like that would be ideal to kind of just go where the coax cable comes in. So that's fine. That could work. But then you just got to get some of that putty. Set Tight has some putty he came across that he told me about that is really good for that. It's very like it was very impressive. We were both like kind of like, dang, that's pretty dope actually. I have to ask him what that is. It's in our chat on Telegram. Before I look at the last of these comments, I want to remind you guys I am going to give away the bull bat. It is no longer my favorite power station to use. It was not really my favorite power station to use. It was just super capable. It's lithium ion. It dual charges from USB C and then charges from 5525. So it can triple charge. The AC inverter is starting to whine a little bit. Well, it whines rather loudly for maybe about a minute and then it quiets down. Some people have fears about lithium ion exploding. So, you know, it's at your own risk. I am going to, if you want it, you need to comment once the video is over so that it actually registers as a comment in the video saying that you are interested in the bull bat. And then after about a week or so of this live stream living out in the atmosphere, I'll pick a comment and then we'll coordinate trying to get it shipped to you. I can only do the 48 states. I can't do Hawaii or Alaska because you can't ship batteries there on an airplane. Um, yeah. What else? Does it do anything else weird? One thing that I found out about it is you can charge it via USB and you can use these cables. It doesn't have to be USB-C. You can use regular USB-A to USB-C. And then you plug these into like slower charge ports. You get about 13 watts, 10 watts a pop from depending on what the port is. Let me tell you why that is interesting. Because in that situation, you don't have to worry about trying to negotiate which power station is going to charge which power station if they're both dual charge. Or if you have, let me just use this short cable as an example. If you have a USB-C cable and you have a power station that only has one USB-C PD port, then you use your USB-C cable to give it its 60, right? It maxes out at 60. And then if you have another slow charge port, you could grab this one and give it another like 10 to 15. So that's 75 watts coming into that dip off of a PD port and a USB-A typical like quick charge port. I think that's pretty cool. What that thing used to do for me is it will run my internet. Remember, I told you it will run it for 22 hours, 21 hours. If my internet uses 20 watts and I had a power station that was charging something with its 100-watt PD port, and I was like, I'm gonna use that one, but it had two What's a good example of that? I don't have one right here. I don't know where it's at. But it had two available normal USB A ports. Then I could take those two USB A cables and get 40 watts, 30 watts into this thing that's running my internet, which is the core of our existence these days. So it wouldn't die. And I didn't have to use USB C. I could use USB A. There you go. Scene. Let's see what else. Trying to get around it. So hopefully I spoke to that. The AC300 has an app and connects to the internet. That's pretty cool. Thanks, Charfarme. You're welcome. You can't use a DC fridge as a freezer for long time users. Really? I didn't know that. You can't use a DC fridge. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I would never guess that. Our mini fridge, we use it as a freezer, and we use it as a freezer. That's what it does. We put it on the coldest setting, and that's what it does. So the freezer aspect, it's not like a separate one. It's a one open panel, and then the freezer is just up at the top in one of those little like trays, and that it'll freeze the whole fridge. I'm not saying that particular unit freezes the whole fridge, but we turn it down to its coldest, and that's what it's been used at. So you're saying in a DC fridge situation, you can't do that. Hopefully you can elaborate that on that a little more. But there are DC freezers though, right? They have the dual whatever, and they could use them as both. And you're saying that you can't use them as that for an extended time. Can you expound on why? Yeah, I just need extra freezer space. Get a deep freezer. It's gonna use about 100 watts. A chest freezer is what I'm saying. Okay, yeah, get a regular chest style freezer. There you go. I have a 5 cubic foot and it works fine. Yeah, we have one. I don't know if it's five. My wife wants another one, so I've been looking in the marketplace for one because that's my first go to for almost everything. Okay. I'd get an Ice Cold 53 quart and use it as a freezer, but only for like 5 days out of a 7 day week. That doesn't make sense to me. I'm gonna have to see what Jason Noy's take on that is because he has a bunch of those things, and his father-in-law I feel like has them too. Conduit. They're called like this is called something stupid. If you go watch Will Prouse's solar trailer video, he put the dips on there. Let me see if I can find what they are. This is not as relevant to the conversation, but anymore. But let me see. I'm just gonna search for waterproof MC4. Oh, wow, that's a good idea. The glands. I knew it was something kind of with anatomy. They're called glands. Let me show you. What's up, buddy? Hi. Let me take the. Can I remove this? I need to share. Ooh, extra camera. That's probably a pro feature. Yep, you got to upgrade to do an extra camera. Son of a blues player. Share screen. Let's do the entire screen just to make life easy. Boom. Add the stream. And you can see this is what I'm talking about. Bourgeois V has one, and then here's another one. You can see that one's $10, right? This one has a wire and all that jazz, and it has MC4 ports right on top of it. It's $39. That's a lot. $42. So I guess what would you do in this situation? This seems like this is counter productive to have the MC4 cable be right there, unless the cable can kind of like hold on, let me see. Unless the cable's kind of like in the thing, but I'm seeing it like this coming out the top. That just seems counterproductive. You want that thing to go up against the wall, and then the cable come through the wall to go to wherever you need it to go. Glands. That's what they're called. There you go. You're welcome. What's up, Kevin? No, Blue Eddie doesn't respect me as a man. 139. Dang, that time flew. I'm gonna blame Dell because she came and she interrupted me. Yeah, it's your fault. You came and you came and took like some time from me. Yeah, you did. You came over. I took
like 2 seconds.
You hit him.
60 seconds.
You hit him with the blicky. It was, you know what I mean? It's a McFlurry. It don't mean nothing.
Oh, well, the distraction.
Right. Yeah, that too. I actually saw there was this van. This is van life girl. She got the AC60 in the battery. What's her name?
Wait, how long did you say?
90 minutes.
That's
Yeah, it flew by. You know what I mean? But what I attributed to is, you know what I mean, whatever.
not a whole 10 minutes.
No, I don't think so. But that it was 122. It's an hour 22. Yeah, you took like 8 of them. See, watch how fast this is gonna go because you over here chatting. I'm gonna look up. It's 145. All right, let me wrap up. I think her name is something Vanilla. Alyssa Vanilla. She got a AC60 in the battery. I was so excited for her, man. I was just like, dang, that's dope. Because now she has it. She has a little van, and she has the two joints. They gave her a 200-watt panel as well, so she could have one up in the front charging from, you know what I mean, the AC. She could have one in the back, one in her fridge or whatever she had it configured. I just think that was super interesting. Then she'd be out there in the desert, so it being like waterproof and dustproof is a good look for her. I was like, good for her. It's too hard on the compressor. Well, that compressor gonna get hammered. That's how I found. That's how I found Jason way back when I was looking for one to put in my big truck. Had an Alpacool for a long time, then it died. Now I have the ice cool, and I love it. Nice. But they say don't use as a freezer for long periods of time. That is interesting. I don't know about 5 days on, 2 days off. I could probably do like 2 weeks on and then like a couple of days off. Cause then what you gonna do with your food, man? Thanks for hanging out, 2%. Appreciate you. Bourgeois V has decent products. They should. I know they should. You're right. I think it's a numbers game. Um, it could be that they didn't like my my EB70 video back in the gap. I did an EB70 video that was buyer beware, and it was just like y'all gotta beware. I know buyer beware is like a bad thing, but it's like that 8 amp input limit was a doozy. It's like you throwing away power. But anyway, they they did reach out to me again. Someone else reached out to me, but then he like CC'd the person that I was working with before, and I didn't know if she even worked at the company anymore because she wouldn't return my emails anymore. Now I do have a situation. Yeah, she didn't return my emails. So he CC'd me. He CC'd her, and I was like, "Oh, you still around? Okay, all right." And then he flipped this whole script. Now they did. He flipped this whole. No, okay, I'm thinking about Bourgeois V. He flipped this whole script and was like, "Yeah, sorry," and I was surprised he put that in an email. It was essentially like, "Yeah, not quite. You're not quite in our good graces." I'm paraphrasing. I'm not even paraphrasing. I'm just giving you what I got from the email. I was just shocked that he like said what he said, but he was just like, "Yeah, we could give you a discount, but we can't send you the stuff." But he initially reached out to me to send out the EV3A. And again, that's a lower tier device. But yeah, I'm not in their good graces, or my channel's not big enough. That's why I have this whole hashtag of road to 10,000 subs, because I think once I get to 10,000 subs, I'll have a little more credibility. I feel like once you approach like 15,000, and it just is what it is. The channel's growing. It's just growing steadily. And I'm not complaining. I have like a plan to get more subs. I was working it for a little while. Um, but yeah, we gonna figure this thing out. That's for sure. Oh, okay, you're out of the truck for 2 days, so that works out for you. Sorry, 248. Who? The Bourgeois V? What are we talking about here? All right, all right, all right. That's cool. All right, guys. It's been real. I look forward to doing this again next week, and we're gonna try and keep it to 90 minutes. I shouldn't have so much to talk about though. But this was a good update. I'm gonna wrap it up. The instructions for the bull bat are in there. Y'all be beautiful, and I'm out like any of the business. He's a YouTuber I like. Well, I used to like back in the day. What you doing? Oh, peace. I hate people who say peace. So corny. Everybody be like, peace.